Ecosphere. First I cleaned it really well. Put it down, went and got my supplies ready. You really don't need much. And I'm on my way. Too bad it was raining, that kinda sucked. I spent about 2 hours yesterday clearing out this path all the way down to the old creek in the forest behind my house. It's pretty cool. I set my stuff down and started with the substrate. I grabbed a few different types of mosses and some plants as well as some rocks and some twigs. I quickly realized that the creek had run dry, so I had to go upstream and find some water. Hey look, there's some. I climbed over these fallen trees to get to a little puddle. Started to fill up my water bottles with water, put them back in my backpack, and I was on my way back to the house. This environment was perfect. It was full of microfauna and lots of plants for the ecosphere. Hey look, there's my house. Got inside and I was ready to start building. Oh, and there's Simba. Part 2 is up right now. Part 2, building the ecosphere. First we start with the soil and substrate. It's packed full of microorganisms and other little creatures living inside of it. And then the various mosses and plants that I got from the riverbed. Then I added the first 2 water bottles of water. That way it would help keep it cemented in. Then I added in a couple other natural accents. That includes some twigs and some rocks, and some little pebbles as well with some moss on it. Then I topped it off with some more dechlorinated water, and then topped it off with some moss. Closed the lid, and it's sealed. It's pretty murky right now, but in a day, it'll probably settle up a bit, and I'll update you guys again. I'm gonna leave it by this window for some proper lighting. And look, you can already see some of the microorganisms living inside. It cleared up pretty decently in the first hour. I'm excited to see if this self-sustaining system actually works out. Follow for more of the Ecosphere updates. Thanks for watching. We've all been waiting for Part 3. I want to thank all of you for the love and support I've had on this journey so far. The energy and excitement for this is just incredible. Oh, and Simba says thanks as well. The dust has settled and the water is quite clear. I can see the little guy swimming around a lot easier now. Lots of people have been asking how the living things are getting air. Yes, this is a self-sustaining system, say that 5 times fast. But until things are settled in, I'll have to open the lid a few times to help oxidize the plants. This won't be a fast journey. We really can't rush nature. But what we can do is sit back, relax, and observe how intricate this really is. I'm really curious to find out what kind of creature this little guy is. He seems to be the biggest out of all them. I'm sure we'll remember him. Should we give him a name? Anyways, it's doing quite well. I'll update you guys in a couple of days. I can't wait. 7 a.m. and before I leave for my classes, I had to check on the ecosphere. As expected, there isn't much change. It's only been a day. After my classes, I had to stop at the store to grab some supplies for some of my other pets, including some yummy treats for Falcor. Look at this beautiful chameleon, a semi-arboreal ball python, and the little baby bearded dragons. Now let's go home. Falcor's a 5-year-old male bearded dragon. He really loves superworms and salads. His biggest goal in life is to meet Margot. Over the last few days, he's really enjoyed sitting on the windowsill and watching the ecosphere. We have noticed quite a lot more of the microfauna swimming around, until they go and hide in the floating moss that they've made their home. I'm very intrigued to see what they will look like in a week or so. Though I cannot make an update video each day, I thought it would be a good idea to answer some questions I've gotten over the last few days, as well as show off the ecosphere even more. How often do you open the lid to oxidize the plants? I try for at least 10 minutes a day, until the ecosphere is strong enough to hold itself. Do you have YouTube? I haven't posted yet, but I am planning on making longer and more in-depth videos on the ecospheres and all my other animals. Here's a big question. Is Falcor going to meet Margot? Unfortunately, Margot lives quite a ways away from us, but the joy of being able to talk for a bit and become friends with her is incredible. What are the little creatures inside the ecosphere? I'm not 100% sure yet. They're still very tiny. I'm sure there's some sort of crustacean. If you have any idea, please let me know. I wanted to thank you all again for supporting me, and especially Falcor. He's really loving all the attention. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Talk to you later. It's been 4 days, and now finally, we're starting to see new life. see new creatures. Before I left for my classes this morning, I took a closer look. At first, I didn't see much. It was still murky, dark, cold. The day was still warming up. But then I looked up to find a small, worm-like creature. With a closer look, you can see it has some sort of antenna or mouth at the front, as well as some sort of forceps, pinchers, or hands that he uses to crawl around. Hey look, there's another new creature. I was really fascinated by this little guy. The plants, the algae, the moss, they're all doing pretty well now. The cycle seems to be strong at the moment. And I'm seeing more little creatures every day. In a week or 2 weeks' time, this is going to be incredible. Wow. I never would have thought I'd be able to share my love and passion for nature to this many people. Nearly 1 million followers, over 25 million views, and 6 million likes, all in a week. You guys are crazy. The ecosphere is thriving. Each and every day I see more and more of the microorganisms swimming around inside, and even have been able to notice a few different types as well. Living creatures and green plants prove to me that the cycle is working. After a week, we've noticed some more algae growing on the walls of the jar, as well as more buildup of debris floating at the top of the water, acting as a layer for some of the microfauna to live in. Being able to appreciate nature inside of my own home is amazing, as well as being able to share it with all of you. While we are all cooped up at home practicing safe social distancing, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video, and remember, wash your hands. Something's changed. It's dark. Really dark. A week and a half into this ecosphere, and here's something I've never seen before. Blocking out all of the sunlight, there's a layer of debris floating at the top of the ecosphere. And when I took a closer look at what I found. It was alive. This new floating pile of debris was home to countless of these little worms. With the camera, we can see a few, but with a closer look with the human eye, similar to the rest of the creatures living in here, there is so much more. This darkness being casted over the ecosphere may be a good thing, or something terrible. But that's the wonder about this whole experience. We get to sit back and observe the wonders of nature, all inside this little jar. After 2 weeks, the ecosphere looks dead, though in actuality, it is packed full of life more than it ever has been before. Using some directional light during the night allows us to observe our microscopic crustacean friends much easier. If you can recall back to the first few days, we were only able to see 2 or 3 of them. Now, we see hundreds. They are minuscule in size, yet massive in numbers. They're everywhere. Oh, and look at this little guy. I thought he was pretty cute. Guess he was a bit camera shy though. He never came back out. After observing the ecosphere for a while, I noticed they would all congregate at the top layer of debris, instead of the moss as I had assumed at first. I'm assuming that's where their home is. I'm really excited to see what happens with them. Follow for all the updates, and go wash your hands. 3 weeks in, and the ecosphere is doing better than ever. It's full to the brim with life. With clear water, healthy algae, and hundreds of microfauna. Simba and I never get tired of watching it. Not only is the cycle of life so fascinating, but the natural look of this ecosphere is absolutely mesmerizing. Watching the small copepods, as well as many different microorganisms, swim around, eat the algae, and live their everyday life, makes me wonder if they even know what's happening. They have no idea millions of people watch them every day. It really makes me think, if they have no idea, what if we have no idea? They are just some tiny creatures to us. Maybe we are too to something else. Think about it. I believe it's already been a month. This ecosphere has changed my life. The amount of support for all of this is absolutely breathtaking. Now let's get into the 1 month update. One word, algae, and a lot of it. Where I live, it's been a lot more sunny than it normally is, thus resulting in a lot of algae on the walls of the jar. Algae isn't terrible, we just have to make sure it's not overpowering everything else. Unfortunately, it's really blocking the visibility. It looks pretty cool in the sunlight, but it's also really hard to see any of the copepods living inside. Even though you can only see a few in these clips, I know there are a lot more in there. I'm a little worried for this ecosphere. I haven't ever had to deal with such a big algae bloom, but with high hopes, this will all turn out okay. As of now, it'll be tucked away in the corner, reducing the sunlight, in hopes it gets better. Unfortunately, all good things must come to an end. The original backyard ecosphere, now engulfed in algae, is gone way too soon. I will never forget this incredible journey, nor will I stop creating ecospheres. This one turned out absolutely beautiful, and I can't wait to make the next one even better. But now, something we have all waited for a long time. Opening of the lid. I expected it to smell a lot worse, but it really wasn't that bad. As you can see, there's a really thick, bubbly layer of something on top of the water. I believe it's just a bunch of bacteria, algae, and other debris all mixed up together, floating at the top. Yes, the jar still looks really cool with the sunlight shining through the algae, but it's time to move on to bigger and better things. I plan on recreating this ecosphere. Same jar, same style, so stick around to see what happens.